600,000 families have already signed up, not for a government benefit they qualify for by income, not for an emergency assistance program. They signed up for something that does not even exist yet. The accounts will not be funded until July. The Treasury has not finalized the rules, and already 500,000 households have filed paperwork for a program that carries a president's name, promises $1,000 per child, and comes wrapped in the language of generational wealth. That number tells you something important about what America looks like right now. It tells you something about desperation, about marketing, and about how political branding works in an era when most families cannot absorb a $400 emergency expense. On January 28, 2026, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stood before reporters and announced the enrollment figure with visible enthusiasm. He was flanked by an unusual coalition: rapper Nicki Minaj, Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. The event was staged at the Mellon Auditorium in Washington, an all-day summit designed to promote what the administration calls Trump accounts. The president himself appeared to claim credit for what he described as a revolutionary investment in the next generation of American children. The mechanics are straightforward. Under a provision tucked into last year's tax legislation, officially titled the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, but commonly referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, the federal government will deposit $1,000 into a tax-advantaged investment account for every child born between January 2025 and December 2028. The money gets invested in low-cost index funds, grows tax-deferred, and becomes accessible when the child turns 18. At that point, the funds can be used for education, a first home purchase, or starting a business. If left untouched, the account converts into a traditional IRA. Parents can begin registering now by filing IRS Form 4547 with their 2025 tax return. The form number itself is deliberate. It references Trump's 45th and 47th presidential terms. Branding is woven into the architecture of the program. The official website is trumpaccounts.gov. The launch date for contributions is July 4th, 2026, timed to coincide with America's 250th anniversary. Every element is designed to associate the president personally with whatever wealth these accounts generate over the next 2 decades. The question is not whether 600,000 families signed up in less than a week. The question is what that number actually means. The administration frames the enrollment surge as validation. Low-income families tend to file early in the tax season because they depend on refunds. They heard promises of bigger refunds this year. They saw the opportunity for free money and acted. The Aspen Institute's Jason Ewis described the sign-up figure as within the realm of possibility, given the timing. Families who rely on tax refunds are financially sophisticated in their own way. They know how to access programs. They know how to fill out forms. They know that when the government offers something for free, you take it before it disappears. But the critics are already circling, and their concerns are not trivial. The Urban Institute published an analysis last year examining how Trump accounts measure up against evidence-based principles for early wealth-building programs. Their findings were mixed at best. The initial deposit is substantial. The program is universal. No income requirements, no means testing. Any child under 18 with a Social Security number qualifies for an account. Children born in the eligible window qualify for the $1,000 seed. That is genuinely progressive in design. But the benefits scale dramatically with wealth. A family that opens an account, takes the $1,000, and never contributes another cent will watch that money grow to roughly $3,500 over 18 years, assuming a 7% annual return. That is not nothing. It is also not transformative. Meanwhile, a family capable of contributing the maximum $5,000 annually will see the account grow to approximately $190,000 by the time their child turns 18. If they continue maximizing contributions into adulthood, the White House projects those accounts could reach nearly $2 million by age 28. The gap between $3,500 and $2 million is the gap between a used car and a house. It is the gap between a semester of community college and a legacy. The program offers something to everyone, but it offers vastly more to families who already have resources to spare. Amy Matsui of the National Women's Law Center put it bluntly. While we support direct investments in families, she said, the Trump accounts being hailed by the White House are a policy solution that does not meet most families' needs. As currently structured, These accounts will just become another tax shelter for the wealthiest, while the overwhelming majority of American families who are struggling to cover basic costs like food, childcare, and housing will be hard-pressed to find the extra money that could turn the seed money into a meaningful investment. The administration anticipated this criticism. Their response has been to recruit philanthropists and corporations to fill the gap. In December, tech billionaire Michael Dell and his wife Susan announced the largest charitable gift ever devoted to American children, $6.25 billion. The money will fund $250 deposits for 25 million children aged 10 and under who were born before the January 2025 cutoff and therefore do not qualify for the federal $1,000 seed. The Dells targeted their gift at families in zip codes where the median income falls below $150,000, which covers approximately 75% of American zip codes. It was an extraordinary commitment, more than double the total amount the Dell Foundation had given away in its entire history. Michael Dell framed the gift as an investment in hope. "We have seen what happens when a child gets even a small financial head start," he said. "Their world expands." But even the Dell's gift comes with structural limitations. $250, invested at birth and left untouched for 18 years, grows to roughly $700 under conservative assumptions. It helps. It does not change trajectories. And then there is the Dalio pledge. Ray Dalio, the hedge fund billionaire, and his wife Barbara committed $75 million for children under 10 in Connecticut, where the Dalios live. That works out to $250 for 300,000 children in qualifying zip codes. Treasury Secretary Bessent has framed these philanthropic commitments as the beginning of something larger. He calls it the 50-state challenge. The idea is that wealthy donors in every state will step forward to supplement the federal investment. At the January summit, Bessent encouraged more billionaires to join. The president said he was talking to friends about similar contributions. The corporate sector has responded as well. Charles Schwab, Robinhood, SoFi, BlackRock, Visa, MasterCard, Uber, and Charter Communications have all announced plans to match the federal $1,000 contribution for eligible children of employees. Some employers are offering up to $2,500 annually in additional contributions. The problem, as the Urban Institute's Madeline Brown noted, is that these employer matches flow disproportionately to workers at financial services firms and large corporations. Those are higher income earners, she said. So it is not clear to me how likely that is to help wealth building writ large. What emerges from the details is a program with genuinely universal enrollment, but wildly unequal outcomes. Every child can have an account. Every child born in the eligible window receives $1,000. But the real beneficiaries are families with the resources to maximize contributions, work for employers offering matches, or live in states where billionaires have decided to be generous. The political context makes this even more striking. A New York Times Siena poll conducted this month found that 65% of registered voters believe a middle-class lifestyle is out of reach for most people. 58% disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy overall. 75% of Americans, including 56% of Republicans, believe the tariffs are raising prices. Only 14% support imposing additional tariffs. 65% of voters believe the Trump administration's policies favor the wealthy, compared to just 12% who think they are oriented toward the middle class. In this environment, the Trump accounts function as a political tool as much as a savings vehicle. They offer the administration something positive to announce. They generate headlines about free money and celebrity endorsements. They create the impression of action on affordability, even as the underlying economic pressures continue. The summit itself illustrated the strategy. Nicki Minaj stood alongside the president and Treasury Secretary, lending cultural credibility to a tax provision. She pledged personal contributions that could reportedly reach between $150,000 and $300,000 for children of her fans. She called it the true meaning of paying it forward. Early financial literacy and financial support for our children will give them a major head start in life, she wrote on social media. In some cases, they will end up teaching their very own parents how to invest and what to invest in. It was a striking message from an artist who admitted in a 2024 live stream that she is not an American citizen despite paying millions in taxes. Her involvement drew backlash. A petition calling for her deportation gained tens of thousands of signatures after her Turning Point USA appearance. But the administration clearly calculated that Minaj's 28 million social media followers represent a demographic worth reaching. Celebrity politics cuts through noise. Kevin O'Leary provided the business credibility angle. Ted Cruz offered conservative bona fides. The summit featured policy briefings and panel discussions on financial literacy. The Treasury Department announced a Super Bowl advertisement is planned for next month to further boost awareness. This is a full-spectrum marketing operation attached to a tax provision, and there are legitimate questions about whether the families signing up understand what they are getting. The accounts do not exist yet. Contributions cannot be made until July. The Treasury will administer the initial accounts, but families will eventually be able to roll them over to private brokerage firms. The rules are still being written. IRS Notice 2025-68 provides an overview, but the guidance explicitly states that additional regulations are forthcoming. Comments were requested by February 20th. Families filing Form 4547 right now are registering for a product whose final terms remain undefined. They are trusting that the $1,000 will materialize. They are trusting that the investment options will be reasonable. They are trusting that the program will not be modified or defunded by future administrations. These are not unreasonable assumptions, but they are assumptions. The Urban Institute raised a specific concern about families who do not file taxes at all. For families who do not file, there is a greater likelihood that they probably do not open accounts, Brown said. That translates into federal contributions lost. The very poorest Americans, the ones who might benefit most from a $1,000 head start, are the least likely to navigate the paperwork. An online portal at trumpaccounts.gov is scheduled to launch by mid-2026, offering an alternative registration path. But that is months away. The families signing up now are the ones already engaged with the tax system, already filing returns, already capable of managing bureaucratic complexity. They are not the most marginalized. They are the most connected. The structural design of the program reveals its priorities. No income limits means wealthy families can participate fully. The $5,000 annual contribution cap favors those with disposable income. The tax-deferred growth benefits those in higher brackets. The withdrawal rules incentivize long-term holding, which works best for families who do not need immediate access to cash. The matching programs from employers benefit workers at large companies with generous benefits packages. None of this is accidental. The program was designed by people who understand incentive structures. They know who benefits most from tax-advantaged accounts. They chose this design anyway. What the administration has created is a program that looks universal but functions regressively. It offers something to everyone while offering the most to those who need it least. It generates positive headlines about generational wealth and financial literacy while doing relatively little to close the racial wealth gap or address the immediate affordability crisis that dominates public concern. The 600,000 families who signed up in the first week are not wrong to take the money. Free money is free money. $1,000 is $1,000. Any rational actor would register. But those families should understand what they are participating in. They are participants in a branding exercise. They are enrolling their children in accounts that carry a president's name, that will carry that name for decades, that will generate compounding political returns long after the policy debates have faded. When an 18-year-old in 2043 accesses their Trump account to make a down payment on a house, they will think of the president whose name is on the account. They will associate that financial moment with that political figure. The investment is not just in index funds, it is in legacy. That may be the point. Political scientists have long understood that programs which create personal stakes generate durable coalitions. Social Security persists because millions of Americans have paid into it and expect to collect. The mortgage interest deduction persists because millions of homeowners benefit from it and would punish any politician who touched it. Trump accounts create a new constituency. Tens of millions of families with a personal financial stake in a program that carries the president's name. The accounts become a political asset, not just a policy. Whether that is cynical or clever depends on your perspective. What it is undeniably is effective. 600,000 families signed up in a week for accounts that do not yet exist, based on promises that are not yet fully defined, because the marketing was good and the word free appeared in the description. The rest of the details are footnotes.